Meet it back at the end.
Oh, man.
Got it?
Okay. All righty.
Mute yourself. Okay, then.
Okay, so do we have everybody here?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Judge, we're present.
I can.
Oh,
What? Okay, wait a second.
we might can you see if your volume's up? Because she may not have remembered to.
Is that the speakers?
Yes.
Sounds.
It should have just a bar that goes across the. There, wait.
5 months. Cheaper.
Oh, I thought it was up. Nope. Why? How's it muted?
Is it muted?
Where?
Pull that thing back up.
But no, but it's at 98.
Well, it's at 98, but it's muted.
Okay. Oh, okay.
All right. Now, can everybody hear me and I hear everybody?
We can hear Judge.
Okay. Wait till Karina gets back in place. Okay. All right, this is cause number 2021L7886, the matter of the marriage of Eric Oldham and Virginia Oldham. Let me have everyone announce who's here.
John Anderson for Eric Oldham.
Travis Fleetwood for respondent and moving Virginia Oldham.
Mr. Oldham, state your name. You're muted, Eric.
Jenny, go ahead.
Virginia Oldham.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Fleetwood, you're the move it today, asking for some interim fees. You can have witnesses.
Yes, Judge, I plan on calling both parties at this point.
All right, I can get both Virginia Oldham and Eric Oldham to raise your right hands. You and each of you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Fleetwood, what are you asking for today?
Judge, basically, we have 2 motions before the court today. The first is our motion for interim.
Wait, we can't hear.
He's gonna have to slow down, and I don't know what the acoustics are in his office, but he's going too fast. I can understand.
Yeah.
What he said.
Is there, so where's, Mr. Fleetwood, where's your microphone in your office?
Right in front of me, Judge.
Okay, I guess just try speaking,
Battery 100.
speak slowly, and then whoever spoke after Mr. Fleetwood, we couldn't understand that, so.
Okay, is this any better?
Yeah, I guess just go slow.
Judge, before I want to make sure that everyone's received the Dropbox link today containing the exhibits for the hearing.
And let me see if, I know I don't have anything. I'm looking at Ms. Lozano and she's shaking her head no.
Whenever they want exhibits for a hearing, they need to be EPUB and not send me any kind of Dropbox.
Yeah.
So I didn't even check my email, but
How would,
he can always share the.
They're on her email.
yeah, is that something that you can share in the Zoom?
Yes, Judge, I believe it is. We can share screen with particular exhibits going forward. But yeah, Mr. Anderson, did you receive the link to the exhibits?
I just received it about 5 minutes ago, and I believe you got ours a few minutes ago as well. So
That's correct.
Okay, because I said neither Karina or I have seen anything. Let's see if we can do it through the Zoom.
Okay, fair enough. We'll try that, Judge.
Okay. So first of all, just Mr. Fleetwood, what are you asking for?
Well, Judge, with regards to my first motion, the motion for interim attorney's fees, the current state of the situation is that Ms. Oldham has utilized her entire retainer with my office. The evidence will show today that she lacks sufficient income or community assets that she's in possession of to obtain additional funds necessary to go and try this case. We are currently set for pretrial on May 18th and bench trial to begin June 20th. We have some approaching deadlines with regards to supplementation and witness and exhibit lists that are coming up, I believe, next week. In the event that the court does or does not grant our motion for interim attorney's fees, I also have a motion for continuance on file. Depending on what the court's ruling is today on my interim attorney's fees, we will be requesting a continuance for a couple of various reasons. With regards to fees, what we're asking for, Judge, is an additional $10,000 as of today's date. And should this matter not resolve in a mediation or some kind of resolution between now and our trial date, an additional $15,000 to try this case, as it's set for a 3-day trial at this point. So in totality, we're asking for a total of $25,000 in 2 different steps.
And do you have a mediation date set?
Judge, I don't know that we do have a mediation date set. And in fact, I know we don't. We have been communicating with Mr. Anderson's office in an attempt to get a mediation date set, but I don't believe that's been finalized at this point.
Are you going to try to mediate before the 18th or the 13th?
Judge, the May 18th is our pretrial date.
May 18th, by the May 18th pretrial.
That would be ideal, but being that it's already the 6th, I think with my schedule, Mr. Anderson's schedule, it's going to be difficult to get that done at this point.
Okay, and then Mr. Anderson, what are you asking for?
Judge, we're asking that you deny the interim attorney's fees as a matter of law. They aren't entitled to them, as well as the case law will prove, Judge, their pleadings are insufficient to even request them. Their pleadings merely try to level the playing field, so to speak. They may only mention that there's an income disparity in this, in the position that they're in, and that, according to the Court of Appeals, is not proper. And on writs of mandamus, I've got 5 cases I'll present to the court where it shows that the trial court awarded it. It went up on a writ of mandamus because it was a temporary order, and then the Court of Appeals vacated it. So, Judge, we'd ask that you deny their request. There has been no showing that there's a need for it, and I've looked through the exhibits, and there's not even an exhibit showing that there's a need at this time. So we'd ask that you deny it, Judge. And
do you have, say, one of your appellate cases, either from the 1st or the 14th? I can try to pull that up.
Yes, Judge. There's a couple, actually. I have N. Ray Sartain from the 1st District. I also have Saxton v. Daggett from the 1st District. And these were all emailed over to the court, Judge.
And Judge, I can see a whole lot of reading with regards to every case, all 5 of them that Mr. Anderson cites. There are either modifications or SAPSR suits. Not a single one of them is a divorce. And that's how you differentiate these cases, is their subsequent modifications where the parties don't have any joint property interest they're not marriage, they're not divorce cases, so that none of the cases are on point or relevant to our current situation.
Judge, they're absolutely relevant. They all talk about the parent-child relationship, and that's what this is. This is a suit affecting the parent-child relationship. Whether it's a divorce or it's not, it still affects the parent-child relationship, Judge. And the courts are pretty clear in this that interim attorney fees are not, they're not granted under these circumstances, Judge.
All right, so Mr. Fleetwood, if you want to call your first witness,
Thank you, Your Honor. I call Virginia Oldham.
you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Oldham, please state your name for the record.
Virginia Oldham.
And you go by Jenny, correct?
Yes,
And you're currently married to Eric Oldham,
yes,
and y'all have 4 children?
yes.
Where are you currently residing?
1682 Carter Road.
Okay, and that was the marital residence before the split between you and Eric.
Yes,
Okay, there's currently temporary orders in place, is that correct?
yes,
Okay, as part of those temporary orders, do you receive any child support?
yes.
Okay, how much child support do you receive on a monthly basis?
$3,000.
Okay, and are you currently employed?
Yes,
How are you employed?
with Amazon.
Okay, and what is your job title there?
HR, disability and leave.
Okay, and how long have you been working for Amazon?
A year and a half.
Okay. Now, Ms. Oldham, you've retained my services and I've represented you through the pendency of this divorce case. Is that correct?
Yes,
And do you recall approximately how much money you have borrowed to pay legal fees at this point?
$40,000.
Okay. And has any of that money come from the community estate or your separate estate?
No,
Where has every penny of your legal fees come from at this point?
credit card and family.
Okay. Specifically, what family member have you borrowed money from?
My brother,
Okay. Do you recall how much you borrowed from your brother to pay?
$25,000.
Okay. At this point, have you exercised, or excuse me, have you tried to borrow additional money to get additional legal fees?
Yes,
Is that a possibility at this point?
no,
Who have you asked for money to continue this litigation?
my parents and my brother.
Okay, and they both indicated that they're not able to further assist you.
Right.
Okay, so with regards to credit card, do you have the ability to run up any more credit card debt to cover your legal fees?
I can't get approved for a credit card, so I only have one credit card.
Okay, is there any a balance left on that credit card?
Right now, I think I have like an $18,000 limit and I have about 8,000 on it.
Okay, if you were to run that credit card all the way up to $18,000, could you afford the monthly payment on it?
No,
Okay. Have you attempted to get a loan from a bank?
no,
Do you have a belief that you could not get a loan for the bank?
yes, I don't think I'd get approved.
Okay. Did you recently have to sell a motor vehicle and downsize to get a cheaper motor vehicle?
Yes,
And we did that with the court's approval.
yes.
Okay. What were you driving when this divorce started?
It was a Ford Expedition,
Okay. And do you recall what the monthly payment was on that vehicle?
almost $1,200.
Okay. You couldn't afford that $1,200.
No,
Okay. The court allowed you to trade that vehicle in.
yes,
And did you get a new vehicle?
yes.
When you went through that process of acquiring a new vehicle, did you make an application for a loan?
Yes.
How much did you qualify for?
I qualified for 18 and then I had to put in with the bank, showing that I was getting money from my family. And so I got approved for 25.
For automobile loan,
Yes,
and you were able to purchase a new automobile.
yes.
What did you purchase?
A Kia Sorento.
Okay, that's a significant downgrade to what you were previously driving.
Yes, my payment is $341
So
versus the $1,200.
you downgraded so that you could afford that vehicle.
Yes,
Objection leading.
Objection overruled.
So, your current financial situation, how would you describe it?
I make $21 an hour. I'm scheduled for 40 hours, but depending on the needs of the business, I don't always get 40 hours. I have a lot of bills.
Okay. This time, Your Honor, I'm going to present an exhibit to my client. So would you like me to attempt to publish that to the court?
Yeah, see if you can, bring it up on the screen.
All right. Oh, this is going to be confusing. Screen sharing. How about that?
I can see it.
All right. Ms. Oldham, I'm going to show you what has been marked as Respondents Exhibit RX1. Are you familiar with that particular document?
Yes,
What is that document entitled? Okay. One more time, Ms. Oldham.
Respondent's financial information statement.
Okay. Did you, with the assistance of my staff, complete this financial information statement?
Yes,
And to your knowledge, is this financial information statement accurate?
yes,
Does it depict any and all monthly expenses, including bills that you have?
yes,
Okay. Now, down at the bottom of this sheet, excuse me, on page 2, we have your income from Amazon. In addition to the $3,000 a month in child support, is that correct?
yes,
Okay, so based on your monthly bills and your wages you receive from Amazon and the income you receive from Eric Oldham and child support, you're basically break even on a monthly basis. Is that correct?
yes,
And this wouldn't even account for any unforeseen bills.
no,
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'd offer the evidence what has been marked as RX1.
Hey, Mr. Anderson, any objection to RX1?
Yeah, Judge, this is a summary of her testimony, but it's not signed by her. So, I mean, it's hearsay more or less, Judge. So we would object under hearsay, Judge.
Okay. Well, I'll admit RX1 is a summary of her testimony.
Hang on. Now I gotta figure out how to get it off the screen.
stop share.
Ah, there you go, right there. Okay. Ms. Oldham, I'm gonna show you what has been marked as RX exhibit number 2. See if you recognize this particular document. This is a slow process. Ms. Oldham, what is RX2 appear to be?
One of my pay statements,
Okay, and from what month is this pay statement?
the pay date is March 4th,
Okay, and what year?
2022.
All right, and is this pay statement accurate and been altered in any form or fashion?
No,
Is this basically what you receive every pay period?
I get $21.49 an hour, so it just depends on how many hours I work that week.
For this particular pay statement, how many hours did you work?
I worked 40 hours and then an hour and a half of overtime.
Okay,
We would ask that he admit it before they testify from it, Judge.
Judge, that's fine. I'll offer exhibit RX2 in evidence.
Okay, is Any objection to respondents number 2?
No, Judge, no objection.
Okay.
All right, so respondents 2 is admitted.
Ms. Oldham, how often do you get overtime?
I was getting overtime because COVID was going on, but now we're back to normal. So I won't be getting overtime.
Okay. Do you work
Stipulation.
overtime every time you have an opportunity to work overtime?
Yes.
Ms. Oldham, I'm going to show you what has been marked as RX Exhibit 3. Does this appear to be another paycheck from Amazon?
Yes.
Okay, have you changed or altered that paycheck in any form or fashion?
No.
Does it appear to be accurate?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd offer evidence what has been marked as RX Exhibit 3.
No objection, Judge.
Okay, respondents exhibit 3 is admitted.
What pay period is this exhibit from?
The pay date is from March 11th,
Of what year?
2022.
Okay, in this particular pay period, you only got 16.62 hours, is that correct?
Yes.
Objection, Miss. Never mind. I apologize, Judge. Sorry.
Is that pretty typical for a work week?
No, I had to take off work because all 4 of my kids had the flu and so did I. So the time off was not paid.
Okay. Do you have personal time or sick leave that you can utilize?
Not at that time. Well, I do have some time, but I had something scheduled already.
Okay. All right. Ms. Oldham, I'm going to show you what has been marked as RX exhibit number 4. Find it. I apologize. I don't know why that keeps happening. Ms. Oldham, I'm going to show you our exhibit 4. What does this appear to be?
This is my checking accounts.
Okay. And this checking account helps only in your name.
Yes.
And this is at USA Federal Savings Bank.
Yes.
Okay. And what period of time is this activity summary from?
From March 1st to March 31st, 2022.
All right. Have you altered or modified this activity summary in any form or fashion?
No.
Does it appear to be accurate in the form it's presented?
Yes.
At this time, I'd offer an evidence what's been marked as RX Exhibit 4.
No objection, Judge.
RX4 is admitted.
Ms. Oldham, what income goes into this particular account?
Child support and my pay.
Okay. Are you the only person that has access to this particular account?
Yes.
Okay. And the bills that we represented in RX Exhibit number 1, your financial information sheet, are they paid from this account?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it appears as of the end of March of 2022, you had a balance in that account of $2,220.12.
Yes.
Okay. How are you able to save up those funds?
From my pay.
Okay. So is that something you were able to acquire just in that month of March, or something you've been able to save up over a period of time?
I mean, all my incomes from my pay or child support.
Okay. Now, this was from back at the end of March. As we currently sit here at the beginning of May, do you know approximately how much the balance is on this account?
Right now,
Yes.
probably like 4,000.
Okay. Do you still have month bills coming out for the month of May?
Yes.
All right. All right, so I'm going to show you what has been marked as RX exhibit number 5. Do you recognize this particular document?
Judge, we don't have any objection to it if it'll speed this up.
Yeah, that's my other baby.
RX5 is admitted.
Thank you, Hunter. Where is this bank account held at?
In Belleville.
Okay, and you're the only one that has access to this particular bank account.
Yes.
All right. It appears at the end of April of 2022, you had approximately $2,000 in this account. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. And where did those funds come from?
We got $16,000 back from taxes last year, and I put my half of the 8,000 into this bank account, and I've got my butane bill and my cell phone bill coming out of that $8,000. So right now it's down to 23, almost $2,000, like $2,000. But just those two bills are coming out.
But is there anything being added to this account on a monthly basis?
No.
So this account is just dwindling down.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to show you what has been marked as RX exhibit number 6. Will you please identify this document?
This is a USAA savings account.
Okay, and this was in both yours and Eric's name, is that correct?
Yes.
And this statement periods from way back in October of 2021, is that correct?
Yes.
As we sit here today, what is the balance of this particular account?
I think it's like $25.
Okay, and at the end of October, it looked like the balance was 1 penny, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Your Honor, time I offer the evidence what has been marked as RX exhibit 1.
No objection, Judge.
RX exhibit number 6.
Yeah, RX6 is admitted.
Ms. Oldham, is this the only savings account you had?
No.
Okay. Is this one of 2 savings accounts you had?
With Eric?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Oldham, I'm going to show you what has been marked as RX exhibit number 7. This appears to be a USA Classic checking account in both yours and Eric's name. Is that correct?
Yes.
And this statement was from back in September of 2021. Is that correct?
Yes.
Does this account still exist?
Yes.
Okay. The ending balance in September was $336. Is that correct?
Yes.
Do you know what the ending balance is as of May of 22?
I think right now it might have like $20 in it.
Okay. Your Honor, I'll offer an evidence what has been marked as RX exhibit number 7.
Any objection to number 7?
No, Judge.
Respondents exhibit 7 is admitted.
Thank you, Judge. All right. Ms. Oldham, did you come to recently find out that tax return was filed without your permission?
Yes, Eric said that he was gonna file the taxes and he was gonna send me his W-2 form and for me to send him mine. And I did, and he never sent me his form. And then he sent me a message saying that the taxes have been filed, but I have not seen them or signed them.
Okay. Are you aware whether taxes were owed or a refund was given for that particular year?
Objection, speculation.
She could just testify if she knows.
I'm pretty sure a refund is being issued.
Objection, speculation.
Yes,
Just by-
objections sustained.
Ms. Oldham, listen to the question very carefully, but are you aware whether or not a refund has been issued at this point?
Eric told me that we were gonna be getting $14,000 back.
Have you seen any of that money?
No,
Do you know where that money went?
no,
Okay. What year were that tax return related to?
2021.
Okay. Now, have you also become aware that there is a large sum of money owed to the IRS for back taxes?
Yes,
Okay, what particular year was that money?
I'm gonna object to relevance. I don't understand what the back taxes have to do with the relevance of what we're here for today.
Okay. So what is the relevance, Mr. Fleetwood?
Judge, I just want to make sure that this is not something that pops up that they end up getting stuck with.
Okay. Okay. Well, then the objection is sustained as far as the relevance on interim fees.
All right. Ms. Oldham, do you have any other assets in which you could liquidate or sell to come up with attorney's fees?
no,
The major asset of this particular marriage appears to be your home and a retirement account. Is that correct?
correct.
Now, we have received through the discovery process, a inventory of Eric Oldham. Is that correct?
Yes,
Ms. Oldham, I'm showing you what has been marked as RX Exhibit 12. Is this the inventory appraisement and suggested property vision that was provided to us through Mr. Oldham's attorney?
yes,
Have you had an opportunity to review this particular document?
no, yeah,
Okay. Now, specifically on the line marked 3.2, there's identified a loan against Shell Provident Fund in the amount of $37,000. Do you know what that is?
no,
Okay. The Shell Provident Fund in the name of Eric Oldham, do you know what that is?
no,
Does that appear to be a retirement account held in his name?
Objection, speculation. She said she does not know what it is.
Objection sustained.
The Shell Provident Fund is listed under retirement benefits on its inventory. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay. What is the value as of August of 2021 of that account?
181. Oh,
No.
wait, 363.
Does this appear?
If I can get Ms. Oldham to repeat her answer, please.
363, 06902.
So there's approximately $363,000 in that account.
Mhm.
Does it appear that Mr. Oldham has the ability to take out a loan against that account?
Yes,
Would that be a source from which you could draw legal fees from?
yes,
Let's see here. Now, Ms. Oldham, on page 5 of 6, line 11.4, 11.5, and 11.6, there appears to be 3 accounts listed in the children's name. Is that correct?
yes,
Okay. There appears to be approximately $19,000 to $20,000 between those three accounts.
Yes,
Okay. And in fact, at this point in time, there is more than that in those accounts. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay. This money that's held in your children's name, how was it derived?
Some of it, we've been putting about $25 to $50 in it for savings accounts since they were born. Some of it is from birthdays, some of it's from scholarships.
And the intent of this money is that it belongs to those children, and you're not seeking to utilize any of those funds in this divorce.
No, that each child has their own account.
And in fact, to date, have you utilized any of those funds to pay your bills or
No,
any legal fees in this divorce proceeding?
no.
Ms. Oldham, just last set of questions. Have you exhausted every possibility to obtain attorney's fees?
Yes,
Is it your belief that if you're not awarded some type of interim attorney's fees, you'll have to proceed in this divorce without an attorney?
yes.
Your Honor, our fast witness.
Mr. Anderson?
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Oldham, you stated earlier that you paid your attorney $40,000 already, ma'am?
No, that's how much I borrowed.
So you borrowed $40,000. How much have you paid your attorney? How much?
We didn't hear the answer.
I don't, maybe 30,000. I'm not sure.
You're not sure. That's your testimony.
Yeah, it's around $30,000. I have to add it all up.
Okay. So what did you do with the other 10?
I have bills. I had a tree go down on my fence. I had to get that fixed. My pool broke down.
Ma'am,
My dogs got sick. My kids got sick.
We're having a real hard time hearing Miss Oldham's answers.
I have bills.
Isn't it also true that you stated earlier that you have an $18,000 credit card limit?
No, that's what I got approved for my credit card.
Okay, so it's a limit of 18,000, right?
Yes.
It's an approval limit of 18,000, correct? Yes or no?
Yes,
Okay. And you said there's 8,000 currently on the card already?
yes,
So you have 10,000 more that you could pay your attorney off that credit card.
yes.
Okay.
But I also have bills.
Objection, non-responsive after yes, Judge.
Okay, objection sustained.
And isn't it also true that that tree you just were talking about, the city cleared that tree for you?
Yes, they
Okay.
paid for the tree. to be
Objection,
cleared.
non-responsive after yes, Judge.
Okay, objection sustained.
Just answer the question.
Ma'am, you testified earlier that you also haven't even attempted to go get a loan at the bank, correct?
The IRS has turned me into,
Objection,
credit.
non-responsive, Judge.
Yeah,
and
objection
I
sustained.
just,
I'll come back and ask you the question. Just answer the question.
I applied for 3 credit cards and got rejected.
Ma'am, you have not attempted to go to a bank. According to your testimony earlier, you did not go to a bank and try and attempt to get a loan, have you?
No,
Was that a no?
no, because I don't have any money.
Isn't it true, ma'am, that Mr. Oldham just gave you $100 yesterday or the day before?
To pay for Harrison's broken computer to the school.
So isn't it true that it was $100 that he paid for that?
Yes,
And you asked him and he paid for it, correct?
Harrison asked him to pay the bill.
Okay. And isn't it also true that you recently went to Florida?
Yes, I did for my birthday.
March 30th to April 5th, you went to Florida, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And is that why you couldn't take time, you didn't get paid for your time off from Amazon because you already had that trip planned?
No, I got paid. I had that trip planned and I used vacation time that was but I did not spend a single thing there. My brother paid
Objection,
for it,
non-responsive,
and
Judge.
Eric paid for the flight with points. Eric gave that trip to me.
So you had enough money to go to Florida, correct?
Yes, I didn't spend any money in
And-
Florida.
Objection,
Not-
non-responsive after yes, Judge.
Objection sustained.
And isn't it true that you also took another man on that trip?
I didn't take anyone on
Judge,
the
I
trip.
object to irrelevance.
I didn't take anyone on that
Hold
trip.
on, I objected. You quit talking.
The objection sustained.
Don't answer the question.
Judge, we may I have rebuttal before the ruling, Judge?
Let's keep on going with the questions and
Isn't it true in March, Eric gave you $600 extra?
Eric gave $600 and when I had the flu and the kids had the flu, because I had to stay home and take care of it.
Okay, so the answer would be yes, right?
Yes, because I had bills.
Objection, non-responsive after yes.
okay, objection sustained.
Answer the question.
Isn't it true that he also gave you an additional $3,000 from the taxes?
No,
Ma'am? Isn't it true that he gave, excuse me. Ma'am, isn't it true that you took the money out of the kids' savings accounts and moved them to an account in your name?
I combined all of the 4 savings accounts
Judge,
into one.
non-responsive, Judge.
Objection sustained.
Ma'am, if you could just answer my question, that would be great.
And
No, ma'am, you're not. Isn't it true that you took the money out of the kids' USAA accounts? Yes or no?
I transferred it to one account.
Okay. And that was for the kids, correct?
All 4 of them, yes.
Okay. Did you ever pay Mr. Oldham for the half the AC that you were supposed to pay for?
I called the company and it had already been paid. I asked Eric.
Objection, non-responsive.
That's objections overruled on this one. I think she's trying to understand or explain.
Okay. Ma'am, regardless of whether the whole bill was paid or not, did you reimburse Mr. Oldham half of what you were supposed to reimburse him for the AC?
No,
So you kept that money.
I couldn't put it on my credit card. It was already paid.
And he gave you a credit card at the last temporary orders hearing, did he not, with a $15,000 limit?
Yes,
So you had that card as well as the new card with an $18,000 limit, correct?
it's not in my name. It says.
Yes
his
or
name.
no? Ma'am, you have a credit card with a $15,000 limit on it.
Eric gave one in August of 2021. Yes, I don't have it anymore.
What did you do with it?
It was in his name. It was not in my name. I couldn't use it.
Okay. You don't recall the judge ordering him to give you that credit card to use?
Yes, but it wasn't my name. It was his name.
And you had the authority to use it by the court, correct?
I couldn't use it. It doesn't have my name on it.
Okay. Give me 1 second, Judge. Ma'am, isn't it true that he also paid for half your furniture?
Yes.
That was just recently, correct?
No, that was a year ago.
Okay, but he paid for half of it, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a four-wheeler at the house?
No,
What happened to the four-wheeler?
it was junk. I had to get rid of it.
When did you get rid of it?
Maybe a year ago.
During the pendency of this divorce?
Yeah, it was on the side of the house, broken down.
Are
Got
you aware that you cannot get rid of community property during the middle of this divorce?
It was trash, and it's my parents' old four-wheeler from when they lived there 10 years ago. It wasn't even ours.
Judge. Ma'am, what about the golf cart? Is it still there?
Yes,
And that's community property, correct?
that's
As
my
well.
golf cart. It's my parents' golf cart.
Okay. Judge, pass the witness.
Mr. Fleetwood?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Oldham, just to clarify a few things, with regards to the children's account, did you consolidate all their accounts into one account?
Yes,
Okay, have you used any of that money?
no,
Right, have you attempted to add to that singular account?
yes.
Okay. Why did you consolidate those accounts?
Because Eric was taking money from Harrison's account.
Okay. We had a motion to compel discovery earlier in this case, is that correct?
Yes,
And do you recall the court rendering a ruling in your favor, awarding you attorney's fees?
yes.
Do you recall how much the attorney's fees were?
It was $200 to $2,500.
Okay. Have you received any of those funds from Mr. Oldham?
No,
Okay. At this point in time, as we sit here today, you only have one credit card,
I have one credit card.
and that credit card is in your name.
Yes,
Eric previously gave you a credit card, but you destroyed it.
it wasn't my name, it was his name, and I didn't have access to it.
Did you attempt to use it?
No,
Okay. Were you scared to use it because it wasn't in your name?
yes, and he could see what I was doing, and then I would have to pay him, and I wouldn't know how much to pay.
Okay. So let's talk briefly about this birthday trip to Florida. Who paid for your flight?
Eric gave me the flight points, and he also used points to pay for my sister and her husband.
Okay. Who paid for your hotel?
I stayed with my brother.
Does he live in Florida?
He lives in Tampa.
Okay. Did your brother provide any other financing to you for this trip?
My brother paid for everything 100%. I did not pay one thing.
Your Honor, I'll pass it.
He also threw me a birthday party.
Done.
Mr. Anderson?
Who paid for Joe Longoria to go on the trip?
Himself. I was throwing a surprise birthday party, and about 20 people flew, all my friends from Houston.
In Florida?
Yes, to Tampa.
Ma'am, the court awarded you that card and had Mr. Oldham give it to you, and they told you that that was going to happen. Why would you get rid of the card?
Because I was scared to use it. It didn't have my name on it. I didn't have access.
Even after the court awarded that to you, you were still scared to use it?
Ask and
Absolutely.
answer, Judge.
Objection sustained.
No further questions for this witness.
Okay, Mr. Fleetwood, anything else?
Oh, Eric Oldham.
All right, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Oldham, I'm going to show you what has been marked for this hearing. Scroll up. as RX 12. Do you recognize this document?
Looks like the thing you had up there earlier.
Okay, is this an inventory appraisement suggested property division of petitioner Eric Oldham?
Can you repeat that, please?
Is this the inventory appraisement suggested property division of petitioner Eric Oldham?
That's what it says at the top of the paper. Yes, sir.
You're familiar with this?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Are you
You're break-
with this?
Breaking up
breaking
so
up.
bad, Judge.
Is that objection?
And you're breaking up, Mr. Fleetwood. It's hard to hear.
Okay. Mr. Oldham, are you familiar with this particular document?
Yes,
Okay. You assisted in the completion of this particular document.
yes.
Does this document accurately reflect the contents contained therein?
Well, it's a little bit out of date.
I understand. But other than that, at the time it was completed, it was accurate.
I'm sorry.
At the time it was completed, it was accurate.
That's correct.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'd offer an evidence what has been marked as RX Exhibit 12.
No objection.
All right, Respondents Exhibit 12 was admitted.
Mr. Oldham, what is your Shell Provident Fund?
It's a 401k.
Okay. I see on line 3.2, a loan against the Shell Provident Fund. When was that taken out?
It was I would have to look and see what the exact date was.
Give me approximate month and year.
About the time that this divorce started.
Okay. What was that money utilized for?
Things like attorney fees and setting up a brand new household.
Okay. Was it done after or before this divorce was filed?
Before.
Okay. And you're currently repaying that loan, is that correct?
That's correct.
Do you have the ability, as we sit here today, to take out a subsequent or another loan against the Shell Provident Fund?
No, I do not,
Why is that?
because there's already loans on the account.
Is there more than just this one loan?
There is.
Can you increase the, okay, if there's more than one loan, why is it not reflected on this document?
It's your document. I don't know.
No, sir, this is a document you completed.
Okay. Well, it was completed quite some time ago.
All right, so have you taken out another loan since this document was completed?
I don't recall.
Well, you indicated there's more than one loan against the Shell Provident Fund, is that correct?
I did indicate that, yes.
Okay, when was the second loan taken out?
I don't know.
Well, was it after the first loan?
Yes,
Okay, so it was during the pendency of this divorce.
that I'm not aware of. I don't know what date it is. I'd have to go look it up.
Okay, so it was before you completed this document.
No, if I completed this document, it would have been on here.
Okay. Things always in the way. Mr. Oldham, it looks like you completed this document on November 5th of 2021. Is that correct?
It looks like that's when it was notarized, yes.
Okay. I would guess that you completed that document about that time.
I would say that is a good assumption.
Okay. So you took out a second loan during the pendency of this divorce after this document was completed. So in the last 6 months, let's say, how much of it was the second loan you took out?
Objection, speculation, assumes facts not in evidence, Judge.
Okay, well, if he knows the amount of a second loan, he can testify. So objections overruled.
I do not know the amount.
What was that loan taken out for?
Attorney's fees.
Do you know the approximate amount of that loan?
I don't remember. It was also around the same time of that air conditioner incident.
Okay. Do you know approximately how much you paid Mr. Anderson in attorney's fees?
Oh no, I'd have to look that up.
Okay. Mr. Oldham, do you have a Shell pension fund?
Yes, I do.
Where is that reflected in this inventory?
I don't know that it is
Why would it not be reflected in this inventory?
because it doesn't have a value.
But it's still an asset, is it not?
Well, I gave that information to my attorney. All I can find out about it is at the age 65, I'm eligible for like $1,500 a month. So I don't know what you do with that. I can't get any information from Fidelity. So I would say that's why it's not reflected here.
Okay. Are there other assets that you have that are not reflected in this document?
This document is old, very old. This divorce has been going on for a year.
So are there other assets that you have that are not on this document?
Yes, there are.
Okay. Are any of them have value of over $1,000?
I'm sure they do.
Okay, tell me what they are that are not reflected on this document.
I would have to review this document and I have to go do an inventory. I had to set up a brand new house. So yeah, I've bought furniture, TV, things like that.
Well, you did all that prior to November of 21, did you not?
That's not what this document is. This document was stuff from the marriage jointly.
Well, Mr. Oldham,
You broke up. I couldn't hear you if you asked me anything.
correct me if I'm wrong, but you're still married, is that correct?
I don't know. Sure doesn't feel like it.
Oh, okay. Mr. Oldham, here on line 5.2 indicates that you have approximately $7,400 worth of firearms, is that correct?
Yes.
Are those in your possession? Well, I guess they're not in your possession. Are they in Austin County?
Yes.
You still own all the firearms that are listed here?
Yes.
Mr. Oldham, do you have your attorney's exhibits in front of you?
I don't have anything in front of me.
Okay. Your Honor, at this time, I'm going to ask that Mr. Anderson publish for the court and for Mr. Oldham to see petitioner's exhibit 6.
Okay, and has that been exchanged?
It has, Judge.
I do have a copy, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Fleetwood, you do have a copy?
I do, yes, sir.
He has an electronic copy, Judge, if he wants to admit it and publish it.
Well, give me a second. If he wants to be like that, I'll go find it. All right, Mr. Oldham, I'm gonna show you what appears to be a Shell Global Solution Inc. pay stub for you. Is that correct?
Yes,
And for what pay period is this pay stub?
it's my last page stub.
Okay, and this pay stub accurately reflects your income from Shell during the time period reflected on this pay stub, is that correct?
Well, yeah,
You haven't altered or changed it in any form or fashion?
no,
Your Honor, at this time, I'll offer into evidence what has been marked as Exhibit 6. That would be Petitioner's Exhibit 6.
No objection, Judge.
Okay, petitioners 6 is admitted.
Mr. Oldham, right there in the middle of the screen, it shows your year-to-date earnings. Is that correct? Is that correct, Mr. Oldham?
yeah, that looks to be correct.
Okay, so through 4 months of 2022, you've earned $142,434.05.
Judge misstates the evidence, Judge.
Okay, so I guess how does that misstate the evidence?
Because Judge, that doesn't reflect, that's his total for the whole year, Judge.
That is not true.
Judge, it is true. It'll be
Well, I
more
guess,
clear here.
go ahead and ask Mr. Oldham then the question of what time period that covers.
Mr. Oldham, over what months did you earn this $142,434.05?
This year,
So the year of 2022, the months of January, February, March, and April, correct?
that's correct.
Okay. So my question of you've earned through 4 months of this year of $142,434.05. What's your answer to that?
It's on my, it's, yes,
Okay.
I don't really understand the question.
It looks like you got a performance bonus from the prior year of $57,700. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Where is all that money right now?
That money has been used to pay bills.
Okay. You just received this approximately 2 weeks ago. Is that correct?
No, that is not correct.
When did you receive this money?
It was longer than 2 weeks ago.
Okay. When did you receive it?
Oh, I can't remember if we get paid in the middle of February or the 1st of March, somewhere in there.
Okay. Where did this bonus of 57,000 go to?
What do you mean? Where did it go to?
Did you hear his response, Mr. Fleetwood?
I'm sorry, Judge, I did not.
Why don't you restate your question, Mr. Fleetwood?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Oldham, what did you spend the $57,700 bonus on?
Credit cards.
Okay. Did you spend the entire $57,700 on credit card debt?
A lot of it, yes.
Okay. How much remains of the $57,700?
Not much.
Approximately how much?
$1,000.
Okay. So you spent approximately $56,000 paying off credit card debt?
Thereabouts.
Let's talk about the $16,912 in performance share grant. What is that?
That's stock.
Okay. Did you liquidate certain stock in that amount of $16,912?
No,
Okay. Where is that stock as we speak?
it's in the stock market.
Okay. do you have other stock other than that $16,912?
There is some, yes.
Why is that not reflected on your inventory?
Because that inventory was dated November something of 21.
So you, in November of 2021, you're going to tell this court you own 0 stock.
I would have to check and see, but yeah, that count was very, very low at that point, if there
Okay.
was anything in it at all.
All right. So there's at least 16,900 in a stock account somewhere at this point. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And you have access to that stock account.
Yes,
If you were to sell that stock, would you incur any penalties or taxes for selling that?
yes, both.
Is that considered a form of retirement?
It is a form of retirement.
Okay. Do you know how much in penalties and interest you would incur?
Well, there'd be short-term taxes that have to be paid on it, for
Okay.
sure. I'd have to look at the rest.
Oh. So is this performance share grant something you receive every year?
No,
Have you received it more than one occasion?
yes,
Okay. Have you previously liquidated those shares?
yes,
So this wouldn't be something that you haven't done in the past if the court orders you to liquidate those.
that's correct.
Okay. The GESPP exercise, an amount of 2970. What is that?
Well, the exercise parts of it is taxes.
Okay. So is that, in layman's terms, shall reimburse you for taxes you're either have paid or about to pay on a bonus?
No, that's so it's part of the Giuseppe program, right? Which is a stock purchase program throughout the year, and then awards the end of one year, or do you get it in January, right? You pay all year and then you get it, but they issue it as a certain percentage below the current market share. So the delta of the current price versus that you have to pay taxes on. So.
Okay. So down here to your deductions from your check, it looks like you have plan loan 1 and plan loan 2. Those are with regards to the 2 loans you've taken out on your 401k. Is that correct?
Yes.
And lastly here, it doesn't look like you made any contributions to the Providence Fund. Excuse me. It looks like, no, you didn't make any contributions to your retirement fund from this paycheck. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Is this something you voluntarily chose not to do?
Yes.
When did you stop making contributions to your retirement fund?
The year Jenny turned 40.
So 2020.
Objection to sidebar judge and her testifying.
Objection sustained.
All right, so this year to date, the $12,000, that's all you've put in that account? Or the only contributions to your Providence retirement fund have come from Shell since 2020?
Yes.
Mr. Oldham, I want to show you what has been marked as RX Exhibit number 11. It's a financial information sheet that was completed by you. I'll scroll through this document, give you an opportunity to look at it. Mr. Oldham, is that your signature?
That appears to be my signature.
And it is dated November 5th of 2021, is that correct?
That's what it says.
And you assisted in the preparation of this document, is that correct?
I don't recall.
Do you recall ever seeing this document?
I signed it.
Okay. Do you recall assisting in its preparation or not?
I don't recall.
Did you provide any of these numbers as to your monthly expenses?
I'm sure I did.
Okay, do you rent or own a home at this point?
I do both.
Okay, the one you reside in,
Was that a question?
yes, sir. Which one do you own or rent the home you reside in?
I rent.
Okay. Where are you living as we speak right now?
211 East Thamer Street, Belleville, Texas.
Okay. You're currently working out of state, is that correct?
I'm out of the country.
Okay. Where are you right now?
I'm in Ontario
How long have you been in Canada?
since April 4th.
All right. Where were you prior to that?
I was in Texas.
All right. And how long will you be working a job in Canada?
Until we get done.
What's your approximate completion date?
I don't have one.
They don't know how long that job's going to take it on.
Nope, because our crane contractor's on strike right now. Scaffold builders and carpenters are striking on Monday. And so, yeah, I don't know.
There it is. Okay. So can you testify as to the accuracy of this particular document?
It was accurate at the time it was written.
Okay. What has changed about this particular document since it was written?
Well, I'd have to go through it line by line to answer that question for you.
Okay. Are you making more or less money than the $16,000 a month?
Yeah, it's more or less.
That's not an answer. More or less.
Well, we just looked at my pay stub. So pull my pay stub back up and we'll check.
Mr. Oldham, you have a USAA classic checking account ending in 9278. Is that correct?
That sounds correct.
Do you know the current balance of that account?
I do not.
You have a USA savings account ending in 2294. Do you know the current balance of that account?
I do not.
You have another USA savings account ending in 8135. You know the balance of that account?
No, I do not.
Do you have an Austin County State Bank account?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the current balance of that account?
No, I do not.
All right. Do you have any other checking or savings accounts we haven't discussed?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. If you had to estimate how much cash you currently have on hand, what would be your estimate?
I have about 200 Canadian dollars.
Okay. Does that include what's in all your accounts?
No, you asked me how much cash I had.
How much liquid cash do you have in accounts that you have access to
Maybe $2,000 or $3,000, give or take.
between all of your accounts?
That's correct.
Okay. I pass the witness.
Mr. Anderson?
Mr. Oldham, isn't it true that you've been giving more and more and more to Miss Oldham every time she asks?
That's correct.
Consistently since this divorce began, even though you were ordered to pay child support, right?
Yes.
You're ordered to pay for the mortgage of the house, right?
Yes.
You pay. Second. Judge, if I may, I'm going to share my screen. Would this be a summary of your testimony? Would it help the court? Sir? Mr. Oldham?
Yeah, there's nothing opening up though on my screen. I just see that you have a file open.
Okay. Give me 1 second, Judge. Can you see that? Can you see Exhibit 5?
I can see it, but it's turned sideways.
Okay, sorry, it scanned that way. Would this be an accurate summary of current expenses that you have, sir?
Yes. I think if you
Okay.
hit that little circle at the top, it'll turn it over.
It's not working.
Oh,
So is it fair to say that you're ordered to pay her house mortgage, sir?
yes.
And that's $2,349.81.
Yes,
And you pay half the electric,
that's correct.
and it's roughly $300 a month.
Yes,
And you pay half the gas, correct?
that's correct.
And that's roughly $300 a month.
Yes,
You pay half the trash,
yes,
and that's about $22 a month, correct?
yes,
And you also pay the internet.
I do.
You pay her $3,000 in child support.
I do.
You also pay the pool loan.
That's correct.
You pay the credit cards.
Yes,
You also pay roughly about $300 a month for dog food, laundry, detergent, toilet paper, all the necessities that she asked you for.
that's correct.
You're paying for the home warranty as well, correct?
I am.
And then randomly, like just 2 days ago, you had to pay another $100, did you not?
I did.
So you roughly pay about $7,900 a month just to Jenny.
That's correct.
And that's not even including half the stuff she asked you for just randomly. Hey, I need $600 because I'm sick, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. Yet they still want more, right?
They appear to. Yes,
Is that aggravating to you?
absolutely.
Is that why you seem a little aggravated, sir?
It could be. Yes,
Because even though you keep giving more, it's never enough, right?
it is not.
And you're tapped out, right?
Well, what you didn't show in that sheet, when you do the math of how much I make per month, I'm in the hole about $1,700 a month. That's got to go to credit cards and stuff.
Okay, so let's look at it one more time. So your net take home is $9,956.28 a month, correct?
Yes,
So when you add these together, you're saying that you're left with a negative $1,700, correct?
That's correct.
And Judge, we would offer Exhibit 5 just as a rendition of his testimony, summary of his testimony.
Any objection to Exhibit 5?
None, Your Honor.
All right, so petitioner's 5 is admitted.
Now, Mr. Oldham, I'm gonna show you what's been marked as petitioner 7, Exhibit 7. Okay, do you recognize this?
Yes.
Okay, and what is this?
This is a summary of every penny that I've made working for Shell Oil.
Okay. And this is a summary of what you will make total for the year, correct? Or is it a summary of up to now?
That's current as to date.
Okay. All right. And so you make $8,137.50 semi-monthly, correct?
Yes.
You're not guaranteed bonuses, are you?
No, I am not.
Okay. Judge, we would offer petitioner 7.
No objection, Your Honor.
Petitioner 7 is admitted.
And you heard Miss Oldham talk about how she took the money out of the kids' accounts. So she has access to that, correct?
Yes, I do not.
Okay. And you also gave her another $15,000 credit card after she told you she destroyed the other one, correct?
Yeah, it had her name on it. It was the judge ordered me to give her 10, but the one I had with her name on it was 15,000. So that's what she has available.
And so you gave it to her, it had her name on it, correct?
It did. I think there might have been an I missing from her name. It was misspelled. But yes, other than that, it was her name.
Okay, so she had a card with her name on it, didn't have your name on it, did it?
It did not have my name on it.
Okay. And you also paid for her furniture, correct?
A portion of it, yes.
Okay. And you gave her an extra $3,000 of the taxes last year?
That was for the furniture.
Okay. And I talked to Miss Oldham about a 4-wheeler. Did y'all have a 4-wheeler?
We did.
It's a community 4-wheeler.
Yes.
Was it running whenever you left?
No.
Okay. Was it still in good shape?
It had gone through an accident, but it was still had value.
Okay. And the 4-wheeler, is that a community property golf cart? Is that a community property golf cart?
Yes.
So that could be sold?
It could, yeah. It was given to us by her parents and I had to rebuild it. I put $1,000 in it, replacing the seats and the batteries and everything else.
So it could be sold if it needed?
I would say so.
Okay. In any way, shape, or form, are you going to make $275,000 this year?
No.
In fact, you have your own attorney's fees to pay, correct?
Yes, I do.
And if you were to have to pay your attorney's fees as well as somebody else's, then that would cause you a financial hardship, correct?
Oh, yes. Of course it would.
When Miss Oldham went on this trip, you paid for the flight with your points?
Yes.
Did she ask you to do that?
I think I suggested it to her as a birthday present.
And then in return, what happened?
She
Did she take somebody else?
She says she didn't.
Okay. And when she was sick, instead of taking paid time off, you gave her money, correct?
I did.
How often do you think in the last 6 months have you given her money?
I'll be speculating every other week or month or whenever she needs something.
How much do you give her, sir, normally?
Depends on what she needs. I mean, it could be anywhere from like $600, or it could be, $100 for dinner tickets to something. Anything for the kids, I give her what she asks for.
And you heard her say she has a couple thousand in multiple accounts, correct?
Yes,
And she has an $18,000 credit card, correct?
yes,
And she also has not even attempted to get a loan from a bank, correct?
yes,
Y'all also have the house, correct?
yes,
The housing market's really good right now, isn't it?
it is.
And do you think that it would be another plausible way to get funds to sell the home?
Sounds plausible.
Do you think that would be an option, is to list the home and sell it?
Well, I would think that would happen as part of a divorce if it was going to go that way.
So if it was going to happen anyways, do you think it would be a good idea maybe just to list the home
Yes,
and get the full market value out of the home? And if there's anything out of her half, she can use some of that,
right.
or she can use the credit cards that she has.
That's correct.
And if she doesn't have that $15,000 credit card, is the credit card still available?
Yeah, it's open. It's open account. I can request her a new card if she needs it.
She can get a new card and put it on a credit card, right?
Absolutely.
And then that would solve her issue, the $15,000 credit card that she had and the one she already has, correct?
Sounds like it's enough.
Okay, pass the witness.
Mr. Fleetwood?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Oldham, do you owe your attorney money at this point?
Yes,
Okay, approximately how much?
I don't know.
Did you recently receive an invoice?
I did not.
Okay. Why do you believe that you owe him money at this point?
Well, he's defending me today, so I'm sure he's going to charge me for it.
Okay, do you have a retainer in his office?
I gave him money to start all this, so I don't know. I don't really understand it.
All right. Do you think it's the appropriate time to sell the home?
The market is really good.
Okay. Have you and your wife had conversations about selling the home?
Objection, settlement negotiations.
Okay, objection sustained.
Pass away, Your Honor.
Mr.
No
Anderson?
questions for Mr. Oldham. Just argument, Judge.
Okay, so Mr. Fleetwood, anything else?
No additional witness, Your Honor.
And then Mr. Anderson, anything else as far as evidence?
Judge, I just have some case law to present to the court. Other than that, just argument.
Okay, and I know you told me about Sartain and Saxton. You want
Those, well, I told you about those because those were out of the First Court of Appeals, Judge. The other ones are out of, excuse me one second. The 9th District out of Beaumont. There's one out of the 3rd District out of Austin, and the 3rd District there's 2 out of the 3rd District and 1 out of the 9th, and then 2 out of the 1st, Judge.
Okay, so looking at the Sartain and Saxton, what do you believe those say as it applies to interim attorney's fees and a divorce?
Well, Judge, this is first of all, Mr. Fleetwood did not even plead what section of the family code he is even entitled to have interim attorney's fees out of. And so when you look at interim attorney's fees in the family code under 105.001, it says that temporary attorney's fees are only awarded for the safety and welfare of the child, which none of that was pled, none of that was proven. Judge, all these cases, they have, the trial court has awarded attorney's fees, and in Sartain, they go on to say that attorney's fees to level the playing field between the parties was inadequate. This was not to conduct discovery and prepare for trial and to level the playing field. It was for the safety and welfare of the children, which that was not pled nor proven in this case. He didn't even plead what section he's entitled to it under. Saxon v. Daggett goes on to talk about the same thing, Judge. How, yes, these were modification cases. However, they all involve parent-child relationship, Judge. A divorce involves a parent-child relationship just as much as a modification does. And they all talk about on the writ of mandamus, the courts have turned down the award, vacated the award because it was improper, Judge. There was nothing proven as far as the safety and welfare of the children. And this is merely, you can tell by their pleadings, Judge, that this is just to try and level the playing field. Judge, I will extend this, that Mr. Fleetwood didn't even offer his invoice. They said that she said she's paid $30,000, $40,000, and we don't even know if there's still money in the retainer. They might still have money in the retainer. Nothing was ever shown, proven to that fact. All they want is for him, Mr. Oldham, to pay more and more and more money to Mr. Fleetwood. It's just to try and fatten Mr. Fleetwood's pockets so he can pad his bill. There is no bill ever even been presented. We don't even know if there's money left in her retainer account in Mr. Fleetwood's office or not, because that was never proven. Just she said that she hadn't even tried to get a loan. She hadn't talked to the bank. She has an $18,000 credit card that she hasn't even tried to use. There's more than enough funds there, Judge. And the case law is clear that they did not prove that it's for the safety and welfare of these kids. And the Court of Appeals has rejected the argument that interim attorney's fees should be awarded.
So, Mr. Fleetwood, before we go to closing, do you want to discuss these cases?
Yeah, absolutely. I can discuss them if you'd like. I'm still waiting for a response to your initial question of how these apply to a divorce case. I haven't heard that. It's obvious that the cases that have been presented are modifications. The parties have no community assets. These are child custody cases that don't have any bearing on a divorce. I mean, while this divorce does have a SATSR aspect to it, this is about Miss Oldham having access to community funds to continue this litigation. This isn't about, best interest of the child and that need for funds as dictated in the family code on SATSRs and modification. That's a completely separate and apart issue. Those are completely, totally distinct factual cases from this particular situation. This is an issue about the division of community estate. Her having access to the funds that exist that she doesn't have access to. I mean, if one of these cases was a divorce case, then absolutely it would be on point, but it's not. I mean, until the court has something that's with regards to a divorce in front of it, these aren't even relevant, Judge.
Judge, may I respond?
You may.
These are absolutely relevant, Judge. And Mr. Fleetwood didn't bring one case to prove his side, who has he has the burden to prove he's even entitled to this. He hasn't. And he just wanted to talk about how she needs access to funds. She testified she has access to funds, community funds she has access to, and yet she doesn't try to exhaust them. What do? They come to court and waste the court's time trying to get money out of Mr. Oldham. Like, this is ridiculous. The only reason.
Talking about the case law. Are we talking about the case law, or are we gonna argue the case?
Yeah, we're still talking about the cases right now, and then we'll get to a brief closing. So, Mr. Anderson, do you have anything else on the cases?
Yeah, Judge, they're absolutely relevant. They're absolutely relevant to the point. And so we haven't had any other rebuttal case law to disprove that it's not. In fact, we don't even have a code section that he's talking about that he's entitled to, other than what these cases say is relevant for interim attorney's fees.
All right, so let's hear a brief closing. Mr. Fleetwood.
Judge, with regards to access to funds, when Ms. Oldham and I started discussing this, the issue is where is this money going to come from? And what has come out in questioning today is more troubling than anything, and just additional reason why we need additional funds to continue this litigation. The court recalls our motion to compel the issues that we've had.
Oop, and we lost you, Mr. Fleetwood. You may want to try moving your microphone closer. Okay.
The court recalls the issues that we've had in the past with Mr. Oldham being truthful and forthcoming with information.
Objection states the evidence, Judge.
Okay. Objection sustained.
Well, Judge, and I would argue that it shouldn't be sustained because you rendered an order compelling him to produce discovery and awarded attorney's fees against him.
And Judge, there's no order currently signed on a motion to compel. We have already checked.
It was a rendered order.
There is no order signed by this court, Judge. Check in the file.
Okay. All right, let's just go ahead with your closing as far as the interim attorneys.
So Judge, we get to this point today and I start asking about the documents that he's produced, his inventory and appraisement, his financial information sheet, and his response, the gist of it is they're not accurate. They don't even include things such as tens of thousands of dollars in stock that he owns, a pension plan that he has. That's why the attorney's fees have been what they have been, because we're constantly chasing around information. And we need to continue to chase around information because he was ordered to provide that inventory and appraisement and that financial information sheet following our last hearing, and he did. But as he testified today, they're not even accurate. We can't even rely upon them because he just intentionally didn't include stuff. So Judge
Object, that misstates the evidence, Judge.
Objections overruled. Go ahead, Mr. Fleetwood.
we are in the need, Ms. Oldham is in the need of additional fees. She's exhausted all the remedies she has. She's borrowed her fees except for the initial $5,000 from her brother. Her only other source of borrowing fees would be her parents. She's tried to borrow fees from them. She lacks the income to get loans. She only qualified for a $25,000 automobile loan, and what she got, she severely downsized and got a much cheaper automobile already in this case with the court's permission. And then we have Mr. Oldham's behavior on the inverse side, where he freely can go take out loans and has on 2 occasions during this divorce against retirement accounts. He just got a $60,000, a little bit more, $70,000 bonus. Now he claims to have spent that all on credit cards. Well, Judge, I can tell you right now, we have no information of that. I didn't even know he got a huge bonus until today. None of that information has been provided to me or to my client. Further, there's a tax return out there in which we believe there's going to be a refund that we know nothing about. Heck, we haven't even seen the tax return. My client allegedly signatures on this tax return and she's never seen it. So this is the kind of behavior that's going on. This is the kind of money that's getting moved around, of which Miss Oldham has zero access to. She can't go and liquidate that $16,000 in stocks, which is something very easy to do, could be in a couple of days, to get access for additional legal fees. Those community assets are out there. She just doesn't have access to them. You know, if Mr. Oldham wants to take out another credit card, well, he just paid off $60,000 in credit card debt. There's got to be a huge line of credit there somewhere that he can utilize to pay his attorney's fees. Miss Oldham should have that same ability. And that's all we're asking, Judge. Is she have the ability to continue this litigation by accessing community funds? Whether it's through acquiring community debt or liquidating a community asset, I'll leave that up to the court.
All right, Mr. Anderson.
Judge, we would object to any interim attorney's fees being paid by Mr. Oldham. You heard the testimony. Ms. Oldham has not exhausted every access point that she has to funds. She has a credit card with a $10,000 limit on it she could use right now. It has a maximum of 18. She said she used about 8, as well as Mr. Oldham testified that she had a $15,000 card with her name on it that is still available. She didn't go to the bank. She hasn't tried to get a loan. All that they've ever done is try to come after Mr. Oldham and get money out of him. That's it. They don't try to use the sources they have. Furthermore, Mr. Fleetwood has not even attempted to turn over an invoice to show what funds are still there. And as far as tracking down discovery, I turned it over. This was just something that we got in that he got in. So we turned it over for this hearing. We're not hiding anything. What's making this thing last a lot longer is Miss Oldham's inability to control her counsel when we have an agreement. So
Judge,
that,
I'm going to object to that. I don't even know the basis.
Judge, this is closing.
I mean, that's ridiculous that you even allege that.
Closing, Judge.
Objection sustained.
So the fact of the matter is, A, they're not entitled by their pleadings.
He just wants to make it all about me.
Can we, objection to sidebar, Judge?
Okay, I couldn't hear what it was, but I'll sustain the objection. There was some conversation going on. Go
The
ahead.
pleadings are deficient. They didn't prove that they are in need of them. They didn't prove they exhausted everything. They didn't even prove that it was for the safety and welfare of the kids. My client doesn't have, he's been ordered to give and gives way more than his fair share. He's ordered to pay for the home. He's ordered to pay child support. He's ordered to pay all these other bills, and still he gives more. And now we're before the court because they don't want to use the resources they have to get funds. So, Judge, we would ask that you look at the case law that we proposed. You look at their pleadings, find that they're deficient because they didn't plead how they're entitled to these, and deny their request for interim attorney's fees, Judge.
Okay, any rebuttal, Mr. Fleetwood?
Nothing other than the personal jabs that Mr. Anderson wants to make.
Well, as far as the interim attorney's fees, again, we're going to be back here on May 18th for the pretrial hearing. So I will award respondent Virginia Oldham $10,000 of attorney's fees, interim attorney's fees. That's to be paid by May 16th. And Mr. Fleetwood, if you would prepare any order, and I'll sign that entry on May 13th.
Judge, we'll be filing a writ on that.
All right, so then I guess if Mr. Fleetwood, if you could get that order, and then Mr. Anderson can respond.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll get that to you today.
All right, thank you. All right.
So there's no continuance then, right?
It's right now, it's still set for pretrial May 18th, trial on June 20th. And then, yeah, Mr. Fleetwood, if you could get me an order today saying that Mr. Oldham is to pay interim attorney's fees by May 16th, then we'll have that in place.
And Judge, well, are we still on the record, Judge?
Yes.
We would request findings of fact and conclusions of law, Judge, and I'll get those in writing as well. And is the court not going to consider the case law that we submitted?
Yes, I considered that.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. You're all excused.